Thank you for buying the ultrasonic cat deterrent. The first thing to do is just to make sure that you've got everything in the box that you should have. You've actually got the unit itself, the ultrasonic unit, a mounting stake, that's to push that into the ground, and then you can mount the unit on the stake. You've then got the manufacturer's instructions, cat repellent instructions. As well as watching this CD, it's probably a good idea just to have a good read through the manufacturer's instructions. There you've got an ordering form. The ultrasonic unit can work on an adapter, a mains adapter, which you plug into the back. Works just as well with the batteries, but if you wish to purchase the mains adapter, it's $8.99. You just send off that ordering form to the manufacturers and they'll send you one back. And finally, and most importantly, you've got a free 2-year extended warranty. It's a manufacturer's extended warranty. To validate that, you must fill this out and post it back to them. Next thing I'd like to do is just take a look at some of the important parts of the unit. The first thing to notice is the little curved window there. That is your passive infrared sensor, which basically detects the movement of the cat and also the heat of the cat. The unit will protect an area up to 40 foot in front of it, which is 12 meters. Best weight is approximately 10-12 strides. So if you take 10 or 12 strides in front of the unit, that's how far in front of it will protect up to. But also it fans out to 98 degrees. Now if you can imagine my arms stretched out either side at 2:45, that's 180 degrees. So about 98 degrees is the fan of this. So if you bring your hands in like that, that is approximately 98 degrees. So you can imagine it will protect an area in front of the unit, the shape of my arms, round about 10-2, and about 12 strides in front of you, or about 40 foot. Should a cat walk in front of the unit will immediately start to emit an ultrasonic sound. Ultrasonic meaning that it can't be heard by the humans, but it can be heard by the cat. At the same time that the unit starts to emit the frequency, you will see the little LED display light there will light up, and when that's lit up, that you know that the unit is working. After a few seconds, once the cat has gone away, moved out of the area, you'll notice that after a few seconds the red light will go out, which means the unit has gone back to standby. In the centre of the unit is the speaker, and the speaker will give out a continuously variable ultrasound with a sweeping range frequency of 18,000 Hz to 24,000 Hz. What that means is it just keeps going up and down, different sorts of levels of ultrasound, all within the cat's hearing range to scare the cat. The next thing to note is the battery housing at the bottom of the unit. Turn the unit up and just pull that out, and there you can see it takes 2 9-volt batteries, which are not included with the kit. You have to buy those yourself. And just simply batteries pop on there, and then the trick is to get them in next to each other. There you go. And then just pop the lid back on again. You'll notice that next to the battery casing there, you've got an on-off switch. So for example, if your children are playing in the garden or you've got dogs in the garden and you don't want the unit to set off, you just switch it off. And also next to it is the DC supply so that you can do your mains power. Next we'll set up the unit. First thing to do is switch the unit to off, and as previously explained, you just want to install the batteries, the 2 batteries. Next thing to do is to switch the unit on, switch to the on position. Then what will happen is, you'll notice approximately 30 seconds, the red light will come on to show that the unit is now operating. It takes about 30 seconds just for the unit to adapt to its environment, set itself up. There you can see that has now just come on. That just tells you that the unit is now operating at ultrasonic, so you can't hear it yourself. But the red light will just tell you now that that's emitting the pulses. For peace of mind, it's quite a unique feature on the unit. We have a test button so that we know that the unit is working and it is giving off this variable ultrasound. We can raise the pitch to an audible level for humans just by pressing the button. If I release the button, it goes back down to the ultrasonic where only the cats can hear it. Next, we want to put the mounting stake onto the unit so that we can push this into the ground. This is quite a tricky little thing. You've got a clip there. You just need to lift the clip and push that down. And then we can push that down until it clicks into position. What you can actually also see there is you've got a screw or a nail fixing hole. So if you didn't want to mount it onto the stake into the ground, let's say you wanted to mount it onto a wall or onto a fence, you could actually just put your screw into your wall or your nail, and that would then just hook over there, and that would hold that in position. But if we're going to be using the mounting stake, once we've pushed that down, the mounting stake will go on there like that, and that is then ready to be pushed into the ground. What we'll do now, we'll go outside and we'll set the unit up. Here you can see we've got a children's sandpit, an area that we want to protect. Now we know that this unit will work for about 10 metres or 40 foot up to a maximum in front of it. So here, the length of the sandpit I would say is only maybe 4 or 5 metres, so that's easily going to protect this area. Okay, first of all we take the mounting stake, we just slide that over there. We now want to position the unit facing the direction of we want to protect the sandpit. I'm just going to push that in. Now, as a guide to know how high to set this unit, is you approximately want it to be round about the bottom of your knee level, the sensor. So here you can see I've pushed that into the ground and that is just below my knee level, it's about the right height. You can mount that on a wall as we said, or a fence, once again to set it round about just below the knee height. And that's now facing the area that we want to protect. We know that it will protect sort of 10 strides in front, or 10 metres, 12 metres, 40 foot area. And it will protect out to around about 98 degrees, so we know it's going to protect, so that should adequately protect that area from the cat. Next I'm going to switch the unit on so that can just lift off its stake. There's the on button, I'll just switch that on, pop it back in there. The unit can be left outdoors permanently, it has got a waterproof housing. And as I said, it's got a built-in sensor here, so what happens is once we've scared the cat off and the cat has moved out of the area, it switches itself back onto standby. Therefore it will save the battery power. So you don't need to worry about leaving it switched on, it can be switched on all of the time. Obviously if you had some children playing in here, or you had a dog in the garden that you didn't want to scare, you could then switch the unit off, because if you left it on and the children were playing in there, it would just keep going off all day long and your battery would go flat. But in a normal situation, it can be left on and it will last for weeks, if not months. Again here, I'm just going to test it's working. I can see that the light is flickering on there. I just press the button, release that. I know that's now working. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up a test. I'm going to let it switch itself off. I'm then going to walk into the sandpit. So I'm just going to do a test. I'm now going to walk into the sandpit. As soon as I walk into the sandpit, you can see the red light will come on. We can just test that to make sure it's working. Just press that, and there you can hear the sound. Now what you will notice is as soon as I've walked out of the way, that will now reset itself. After about 10 to 15 seconds, you'll notice that there's no movement in front of it anymore, and it will switch itself off and going back into the standby position as there's no movement in front of it. So in the next second or two you should see that go off. There, it's gone off now. And as I said, this can now be left out permanently, and it works perfectly well in the darkness. Because of its passive infrared sensor, it will pick up the body heat of the cat, so it'll work even in darkness, even if it's pitch black. Finally, I just want to go over some of the common questions that we get asked. Firstly, does the sonic cat repeller hurt or harm pets? Well, no, it doesn't. It can be heard by cats and dogs or foxes. However, it's designed to create maximum discomfort without injury. So, of course, the cat or the dog that has come into the view of it can easily move away if the sound is causing discomfort. So as long as the cat can escape, an important thing there, it just reminded me, if you were using it indoors to say keep a cat out of a room, you must make sure that the cat can get out of the room to move out of the discomfort zone. One of the questions we get asked a lot after people have bought one is how long does it actually fully take to work so that the cat stops coming into the zone to trigger it in the first place? Now that varies on different situations. If it's some dry dusty ground or a sandpit where the cat is continuously doing its droppings or doing its business, that can take up to 14 days for it to work effectively. So the cat keeps coming in because it's got very strong links to where it's doing its business. It can smell its droppings and its urine, and it will keep coming back and putting itself through the pain barrier. But after about 14 days, it will eventually just give up of that. You can speed up this process by digging out any of the cat droppings, removing them. That will help speed up the process so that the cat doesn't come back in. Other situations where the cat just occasionally comes, say you've got a lawn or an area where it isn't regularly doing its drop-ins, the unit will work almost straight away within a day or so, often within the first attempt that it comes in. Because it's got no real reason to go back there, it's not an area that it does its mess. So in that situation it will work immediately. One of the other questions were asked, will leaves or trees set it off? Well, yes, if you've got some leaves or plants that are within that sort of 10 or 12 metre zone in front of it, they can trigger it. So you cannot have, you do not want to have any obstruction in front of it, because one, it will stop the sensor going off. So you don't really want to put it so that you've got a tree in front of it or a large bush. You want an unobstructed area for it to best work. Next thing is, how long will the batteries last? Well, if you've just got an area of grass where cats just occasionally come to and they're only occasionally going to set it off and the unit will scare them off, it could last you 3 or 4 months because it switches itself off in between each burst of noise. However, if you've got people or cats or children continuously playing in front of it, then it will set it off all the time, continuously all day long, and it may only last a few weeks. So if you are going to have a huge amount of activity in front of it, it's best to switch it off and maybe just switch it on at night times when you want to protect the area. If you've got an area that has lots of cats continuously coming in all of the time, then it may well be worth you purchasing the mains adapter, and then you can plug it into the mains and that will solve that problem. And then another question we're asked a lot is, does it always work? Well, the answer is almost always. If you've got an area, the times that it won't work is some people put them in and they try to protect an area 50, 60, 70 foot away. Well, it doesn't. It's really designed for a fairly small area. If you think of taking 10 steps in front of it, then that's the area it will protect. If you've got a bigger area, then it is worth purchasing additional units to cover that area. Remember, we do a special offer. You buy 3 and you get the 4th one free. Occasionally, you can get it that you have a deaf cat or a very old cat that's deaf. We have had that in some situations where the neighbour's cat is a very old deaf cat and it doesn't seem to work in that situation. Nothing you can really do about that. That just will happen occasionally. But yes, in almost all situations, providing you use it for an area up to about 10 strides in front of it, it will work perfectly well. Next, I'm just reading from the manufacturer's instructions, STV International's instructions, a couple of important points there which I'll just read straight from there. Turn off the sonic cat repeller whenever pets are at play in the protected area or human activity is in the protected area, because that will just use up the battery power unnecessarily. Do not immerse the sonic cat repeller in water. Don't dip it into a bucket of water, not that you would. In normal rain situation it is waterproof. Do not tamper with the sonic cat repeller's internal components. Make sure the PIR lens, the passive infrared lens, is clean. You clean that just with a soft cloth. If you do use the sonic cat repeller indoors, ensure that the pets are able to withdraw away from the protected area. So if there's a room you're protecting, make sure that the cat or whatever the animal is can move out of the way of the area. If you've got any routine questions once you've set it up or in the process of setting it up, just give us a ring. Not a problem, we'll always answer any questions. If you've actually got a problem, it's probably best so that you don't invalidate your warranty to go straight to the manufacturers. Here are the manufacturer's STV International's instructions. Here you can see the code of it's a sonic cat repeller. It's got a code of STV610. Here's the instructions. If there is a problem, on the back you can see here's their customer services telephone number. Great help desk. Give them a ring, they'll help you with any problems. And here's their free 2-year extended warranty. Very important to validate the warranty. You just fill that out when you've purchased it and send it back to them. Any problems at all, you can get in contact with them. And finally, I'd just like to thank you for purchasing the unit.